The meeting will come to order, and I will not dilly or dally about. Roughly an hour, maybe 45 minutes before the events that took place in Navira, wherein, forgive me, an hour before your arrival in Mountivai. Delphira, you are sitting on the flagship of the. You can tell me what the name of it is if you like, but you're sort of on the flagship. Where you spend most of your time here on the Armada, and you are looking out across the horizon, and you see a shimmering, and it's almost as if there is a light turning on and off, and you see a black seagull just flickering in and out. And you watch this takes place for about 30 seconds. Do you do anything, Delphira?
Delphira will shapeshift into an albatross and fly towards the seagull.
Okay. As you get closer, it's about 100, maybe 150 yards off into open water. And as you get closer, the shimmering it continues, but it starts to look a little bit more like Venetian blinds lifting in and out. And you see this black seagull sort of shifting in and out like those blinds. Just the transparency fading in and out until eventually you see it like fades out for a brief moment, and then exactly where it was sitting on the water, right above it, you see the exact same bird diving awkwardly and like plunging beneath the water right after it like dissipated on the surface. So it's almost like it's having trouble gaining its bearing after a relocation, if you will.
I imagine at this point, Delphira, she's locked her wings because she's an albatross, right? And seeing that, she will actually, mid-flight, she kind of like takes a nosedive straight into the water, and as she approaches like the velocity of entering the water, you will see her wild shape into an orca, and she enters the water to see if she can find this creature.
So as you shift into an orca, the water displaces and it makes this huge ripple, and out of the corner of your eye, you see the figure of almost like an elven, like almost like a humanoid creature just tumbling through the water until eventually it just sort of floats on its stomach, still in humanoid form, just bobbing on the wake from your shapeshift.
In her head, she clocks the figure, and there's a moment of, what? That can't be. What? Why is he here? And she shifts out of orca and just into the normal form so she can get close in a safe way and approaches what she sees.
By the time she arrives at the being that's floating, I would like for you. How do I make you do this? Actually, it works using your Pongu stats. Okay. I would like for you to make a history check.
It's a 24.
24. As you approach, and are you just in your like regular form, like
yeah, she's in
okay,
human in her elvish, like humanoid elvish form.
So again, as the water displaces from your change in form, it creates this tide, like ripple pool effect. So there's like this crests and bobs as the water goes, and you're able to just see in your field of vision, you're able to just see a figure, that same figure that you thought, wait, could that possibly be? You see that the tips of his arms and the tips of his appendages and around his neck are ashy black and gray. And you know in that moment exactly who this is. Someone you have not spoken to in millennia.
I think there's a moment of realization and also like, oh no, why are you here?
And at that moment, we're going to go ahead and fast forward. This is now 30 minutes ahead of your arrival in Mount Avai. You now, Delphira, stand beside your trio, the warband, the trinity through whom all important decisions in this culture go. And you float around these embers that are the touchstone, the cornerstone of your society. And you watch as this being that you never thought you would see again, that you hoped you would never see again, swims toward them and puts his hand inside the embers.
I imagine myself, Aurea, and Kalaya in the moment are just kind of dumbfounded at what we are witnessing. Again, we have this deep reverence for the embers, and to see, albeit someone that I know historically anyway, approach and just stick their hand in, it's just shocking. And there's just kind of I think we're just kind of again in shock in this moment right now.
And as this happens, as you watch, it's interesting. Because it's almost like the water is trying to cool it, but at the same time it's boiling off immediately as it touches all of Ash, the being before you, who's touching the embers. It's just like the water is boiling all around, and even you standing at a distance, you feel the heat and these intense pulses, Delphira. And as he does this, you sense the arrival of someone that you had not necessarily anticipated speaking with. And this creature, this being that you know as Ash, turns around and looks at you with a knowing look, and he just says, "Go."
I turn to my sisters, the chieftain and the death caller, and I do some sort of internal gesture for Monavaians that is only known. It's kind of like corporate speak for like shit's going down. It's something that all of the pirates, all of the individuals that are part of this armada know that like something's about to happen. And I imagine it's kind of it's this position. If you've seen, not I don't want to copyright infringement, but it almost kind of looks like a gesture of a whirlpool with their hands, and like they all kind of like nod and do the same, and they all three of them jettison towards the surface, knowing that something is on the horizon.
And you leave the creature known as Ash as a funnel of water boils off of him and rises up to the surface and lifts off of the surface eventually of the water. Kess and Pierce and Pongu, you have just witnessed this same column of water rise up into the air. And you have just seen the events that unfolded. I guess you guys wouldn't know that. So, but you, the players, get to know what happened just immediately beforehand. So, what would you all like to do?
So are we
You are in Mount Avai.
we still on the deck of the ship with everybody who witnessed everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I feel fucking amazing.
Oh, and you've just leveled up to level 20.
Right.
Just in case. Yeah.
Right. We
I'm so
knew
glad you
that.
reminded me. I
Wow.
almost forgot.
Yeah, we haven't been thinking about that all week at all.
That's right. That's right.
And as I recall, a bit of
Duh.
transformation might have taken place. So would Kess, would you like to go first? What does Kess look like now as opposed to at the start of last episode?
Is this like every like whatever we wanted could have changed? Like outfit, everything?
For that type of transformation, yeah. Like
Okay.
cartoon rules, like
Okay.
whatever.
So Sailor Moon
Just
style.
have fun.
Okay.
Just have fun with it.
Okay. So yeah, Kess's hair definitely got longer and bigger. It's like she's small, but like her hair is like twice her body mass now. Like just like giant and poofy, and it goes all the way down to her feet.
Like an Elden Ring character.
Yes. Yes. And there's like little braids in her hair. There's gold like vines and stuff. She still has her the circlet her mother had made for her. It's like the little vines. Circlet? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. But she also has like vines like down in her hair now, but they're all gold. And then she has during her magical girl transformation, because she was wearing what she had on in Navera, which I think was just like it was just like a button-up shirt and like a skirt, I think. She's wearing like a solid black silk dress that almost looks like when she moves it, the dress almost looks like liquid. Like it almost looks like void essence, but like I mean it's dress, but it has that very fluid look to it. The sleeves are really long but like they're I don't know what is this called. Like they hang down at the openings of her arms and stuff. And it's like cut into like a deep V. And then oh yeah, her eyes. She has changeling eyes, but now you can actually see the definition in her eyes, and her iris is almost like life essence. So it's like they're still like white. She has pupils now,
Shimmering pink and blue, like
yeah. And it's when she turns, it's only like you wouldn't notice it. You would think that her eyes were she just had white eyes, but when she turns, when the light hits it, you can see like the life essence kind of in her eyes. Yeah.
And this is also very important, and this is just a Zach home like house rule. When you hit level 20, you get to choose what your character smells like at all times. So if you want to like that's just automatic. That just comes with having a level 20 character, is you choose your natural scent. So
Okay. She smells like leather and vanilla and amber. With a tiny hint of like not like a bad fire smell, but like have you ever smelled like marshmallow fireside candle? It's like a
Oh, yeah.
sweet fire. I know you have that. And she still has her necklace with ashes on it. She still has like the black raven feather in her hair. But also when she walks or moves or anything, it's just like without her even meaning to, black and white flowers just like pop out of her hair. They're just everywhere. Petals, flowers, she just can't help it now.
but now you do have a -2 to stealth because you do leave a trail
No,
of flowers everywhere you go.
if I concentrate on it enough, I can make it stop, but just
Pierce,
normally.
what does your magical boy transformation look like? Like, what do you look like now?
So Pierce looks, it's weird. When you look at him, he looks ever so slightly older. Like, he now looks maybe closer to 30 than like early 20s. His hair is a little bit longer. It's not quite so short, and it is white. It is no longer blue. His tricorner hat's still brown, but his leather duster now is absolutely pristine. It's a blue leather with gold stitching and gold, like kind of highlights, like the buttons and things on it. He looks like what you would describe like a Western prince almost would look like. His eyes now have like a red kind of red-orange glow in them. And you can see at the top of his shirt, there looks to be some kind of tattoo that was definitely not there before. And when he flexes his hands, there's like this little like flash just for a second, like under his skin that you see, and in his hand, both hands, when you see that flash, it has a similar kind of pattern that Ash's ash scars look like, but they're under his skin, and you just, when he flexes his hands, there's a little bit of a flash. You can see it underneath there. So Ash has made his mark, and that's Pierce.
Nice. And Pongu.
So, Pongu, originally 4'1" on a good day, traditional short fairy with wings, is now 6 feet plus tall. He's made a full-on transformation from being just low member of General Fae into being basically a high elf, high Fae lord. He still is sporting full body tattoos, but in between the spaces of his tattoos, you see a glowing light that kind of dance between the color of Pongu's magic, which tends to be golden and silver, but there's little flecks of what looks like green or green emberish hue, similar to the ember flames we've been dealing with. His hair is a bit longer. It's a deeper black, but it still has those tints of purple and silver in it. His wings are not as physically visible. They're not as prominent as they were before, now that he's kind of made his transformation, and they rest kind of like on his back. So they're just kind of draped behind him. And he carries himself very differently, and likely sounds very differently as well, now that he's grown a little bit taller. I think his garb is very similar to a lot of the Monovian pirates, where it's a mix of kind of this, colonial piratey, vibe with a duster, but it has colors inspired by things from the tropics, like warm pinks and oranges and turquoise. And on his head, he has kind of this, not necessarily antlers, but there's like a crown, and from the crown drips these sands that are just constantly dripping off of the crown into Pongu's hair, and they kind of just nestle, and they're just kind of always cascading. The sands are always just kind of cascading, like a magical dandruff, but not dandruff, because there's anything wrong with dandruff, but yeah, it's magic.
Very, very shiny sand, like the most beautiful powdery white sand you can imagine. That's just like,
I imagine
wait, what do you smell
like
like?
an
Reflective.
hourglass, just like
Yeah,
Yeah.
just always constantly dripping. And Pongu originally would smell like flowers, but I think now it is a mix of sea as well. Like there's it smells like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride where it,
Yes.
this like this deep like smell of the ocean.
yeah.
Yeah. There's some of that, and there's hints of floral, but just small.
What did Pierce smell like?
Oh yeah. I think so. I think Pierce's general. Oh, that's a good question. So I think it's going to shift slightly depending on his mood. I think when he's mad now or like in combat, he's going to smell like gunpowder, like very outwardly. But at rest, he's got this very weird, like, it's almost like someone lit a very mild, like, cinnamon, like, was baking cinnamon rolls and lit, like, a lavender candle. Like, just a little bit of those two things that are. It's the weirdest peaceful. There's a weird peaceful aura when he's at peace around him.
That is not the first time cinnamon rolls have come up for Pierce, is it?
No.
No.
So as you guys, let's see. Whew, poor thing. As you guys are standing there, you've just leveled up. You look over and you notice that Ash is still lying on the deck. And he, like, sort of looks to you and he's admiring you. There's a glimmer of, like, pride in his eye. He tries to, like, stand up and then he, like, trips and slips and falls off the side of the deck into the water. And after a moment, he just, like, scrambles and just awkwardly rolls back up onto the raft.
I would
And he's just laying
get
there.
him. I will. He's in the water. He fell in the
No,
water?
now he's on the raft.
I mean, I would try to. If he fell in the water, I would immediately, like, get him out of the water. If I had to shapeshift and go in there.
I mean,
I
he
will.
just, excuse me, he was just kind of on the, it was just like he kind of lost his footing and slipped into the water, but he wasn't like, he didn't fall overboard a tall ship or anything like that. He rolled off into the water and then rolled back up. He's having a rough time. I'm trying to portray that he is weak currently. And he looks at you all and he says, quite the glow up. You wear it well, all of you.
I am
Do we need to
so pissed off
get
right
him?
now.
I
Yeah, do we need
understand.
to get him help?
I mean, I healed
This-
him for like 90 hit points, and he still, look at him.
Okay.
It's a bit more
Ash,
than
let me ask you.
flesh and blood.
Theoretically, let's say we went and like won the day. If we came back, can you think of any way that we could give this back to you? Because, like, I understand that we may need this, but I'm not 100% sure that I want this.
I'm just gonna go up to him and start just pressing his forehead as hard as I could, trying to transfer this back.
Ow. Ow.
Stay still.
Roll to hit.
No.
He's so weak, you killed him.
No. Ugh.
With advantage, I'm afraid.
With advantage. What if I killed him? What am I?
You're
what
not
is-
going to kill him.
What is it? My unarmed strike?
You know what? Just roll a d10 for me. That's. You're just going to see how much damage you do to him.
Oh my god! I don't want to do damage to him. 7.
7, yeah. You just like poke, and every one of them you see like his skin gets a little bit more jaundiced as you deal just 7 points of poke damage to him.
That's
I,
no
it's
damage,
not-
not piercing damage.
It's not working.
Hope you'll
Yeah.
forgive me. I had to beat you here, of course, but
So you've already. You.
You're touch
you
the
just-
shit.
try to stop me.
Well,
I knew what had to happen, and I did it. And I have been around. I don't know why I'm speaking so timidly. And he just like, he has this moment where he tries to be like, he tries to stand up straight and be like, I am a Titan. Like, I am older than the universe. And he tries to stand up and he just like starts coughing again and he just has to sit down.
I mean, the only way we would have tried to stop you is if you had been, honest and forthcoming. So, in a way, I respect that. So we can't give it back? Is that what you're saying? Is this permanent?
No, Pierce, you cannot give it back. But thank you are the first person in literally the history of the universe who has offered to give this power back. So congratulations on earning it.
I imagine while all of this is going on, like Pongu's just kind of like more quiet than Pongu normally is, and it almost looks like he's staring off into the universe, even though he's like fully present. And as Ash and Pierce are having this conversation, there's this like really, there's this moment of sometimes time beyond our understanding, Pierce. Oh, hello. Hi, this is new. Yes.
You're a lot more intimidating tall.
Wait. You gotta.
He hit Pong Bertie.
I look at his feet, and I like look at his legs, and I'm like trying to be like, there. You literally you got tall. Holy shit! You're taller than me.
I suppose this is what happens when fairies don't die. And we're like hummingbirds. Most of us live very short lives, but yeah.
But you're still Pongu, right?
Yeah, like
You still know how to bake and cook.
Yeah, like do you?
Yes. Well, of course I can bake, but we have plenty of people here. We have many decks many ships in the Armada that specialize simply in baking. That's where I learned, Pierce. But yes, I am happy to bake always. It's like
Okay.
stress relief for me.
Okay, that was the question. I think the happiness of baking.
Yeah.
You still have that. Okay.
Of course. If I lose my thrill and joy of cooking and baking, I've seriously been replaced by something that is not Pongu. I like bend down to like reach Ash, and I there's this moment of just kind of like getting eye level with him, and I think there's this moment of just me connecting with Ash on this like, level of I'm staring at Ash and I'm just like, thank you. Why?
You're muted, Zachary.
Son of a bitch. It is, as I told Cass, I have never been enough. I suspect I have faced her dozens of times in dozens of places that look like this and look nothing like this and feel like and feel nothing like this across time and space. Wherever she goes, I go, and I have never been enough. But maybe you will be. There's only one way to find out now, isn't there? And
So,
in that
you know,
moment, he kind of looks scared. As if he does not know what's about to happen to him.
you said that this has happened before, and you've bestowed this power on others before. Does she always win, or does she always come back?
I've never bestowed this power on anyone else before. This is just... No one has ever said no to power, is what I was referring to, Pierce.
Oh.
But... The problem is always that darkness rises to meet light, and light must rise to meet darkness, but ideas spread and become toxic, and hate and fear spreads, and her power lies not only in her embers. It lies in what happens when she lights up those around her. We cannot afford for that to happen, because I have never been able to keep her away forever. But the three of you might be able to. I feel, excuse me. And he just his head kind of awkwardly thuds on the log.
Can I look
He
at
just
him?
falls asleep. Yeah.
Can I? Okay. Let me know if this is. I don't know if I can do this, but I am level 20 now. So, might I try and get a feel for his life essence? And I have an idea of what that means, but I don't know what you, the DM, what that will mean.
I would like for you to tell me what you think that means. I would like to hear that. And then I will tell you whether or not I think that's fair.
I think that at this point, Cass, being so connected with the life essence and the void essence, if we have life essence within us, I think that she would be able to feel it. Or feel an absence of it. And that's what I'm asking. If I can feel that.
Okay.
If that's
You
a
and I
thing.
can talk a little bit later about the mechanics of what is about to happen, but yes, I would like for you to make a...
Nature?
I would like for you to roll a d20 and add your proficiency bonus.
What is my profile? Oh, okay. Ooh. Okay. That's not very good. It's a 15.
A 15. Okay. With a 15, you are not necessarily able to tell exactly, you're not able to get a cogent number. But you can tell, you feel like with some refinement of this ability, you might be able to actually use this as a meter of life to tell how much essence someone has in them. And sense whether or not it is fading, as in death.
Yeah.
And as in this case, you are able to sense that I am frozen. Can you guys see me now? Okay.
You're good.
In this moment, you are able to see that it's almost like the tank is empty and he's just running on fumes. That's what you're able to get with the 15. He is very much so fading.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know you don't know chieftain or the high shaman, but Delphira and Aurea, some of the best caretakers and healers I know. Delphira herself is a practitioner of the natural arts as you are. I know of no better people for Ash to be around. I think if you trust me, I think you trust my guidance. I think Ash will be in no better hands than theirs.
I trust you, but I don't think that normal healing magic can fix this.
I agree and understand. And you hear Pongu's voice drops very quietly, and he goes, "They're very old. They've seen a lot of things. If you repeat this, they will flay me. But they've seen a great many things, both magical and otherwise. Who knows?" And Aunt Del appears to have met our friend Ash at some point, it seems.
And at this point, Delphira walks up and she kind of nods at his like unconscious husk on the deck and says, I have not seen him in quite a while. This is is that the accent I used for her? I can't remember. That's what we're gonna go with.
That's fine.
I'd hope to never see him again, but he did indeed leave an impression. And she just kind of trails off, staring at, and like you see her bobbing as if she is so lost in thought that her body, even standing on the deck, has like become one with the ocean, and she's almost in this like meditative space. Pongu, you've seen her do this before.
I have a quite a few bottles of life essence and void essence, like little vials that I took from the place that I think we set it on fire, and then Pierce and I fell out of it and landed on the ground. That whole area, like I took as many as I could. Where Kess made the life well, that area. So I'm gonna take one of my vials and I'm gonna snap one of my like golden like vines out of my hair, and I'm gonna twist it around it, and I'm gonna turn it into a necklace, and I'm gonna go tie it around his neck, and I'm gonna look at him and I'm gonna say, do not die. You need to rest, but I swear to you, if you die before I can get back and fix things, well, you'll die, but I'll also come fucking kill you, so don't. You're muted.
He remains unconscious.
Oh, I thought he was... Sorry. Okay.
No. You had that monologue, but it was like to the side of his face. Like he was just like limp.
I'll have to tell him that again later, but... Okay.
I bet he heard you.
You think so?
He felt it.
Okay.
For sure.
Hey, can the three of us have a quick chat? Just the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I had space for a moment. Yes, of course. I can show you to your quarters. Rather, Pongu, I believe you can. Your old quarters have been made up for you and those surrounding it, so I believe you know where to go then.
Yeah, it's you didn't fill it.
No, of course not. I could never. Your things are just how you left them.
Wonderful.
And she winks at you, and she just sort of like wipes some sweat off her brow. And in that moment, you can kind of see she's tired. The past couple of hours have been quite a lot for her, like verging on traumatic. So she is she's starting to fade a little bit herself in terms of exhaustion.
So I imagine Pongu turns into like can't like college counselor like mode where he like turns his back and he starts walking backward, and he's like, well, if you two would like to follow me, I can show you around a bit of my home. You see the Monavia mod, and he's just like, it consists of various ships again, from small fast outriggers used for quick strikes to massive galleons that carry the bulk of our plunder. We like to call it, we like to take from the more fortunate and give to the less fortunate, which is usually us, yes, but it's usually people that are just, terrible. Many of our ships are crewed by all sorts of people of different backgrounds, species. As you can tell, we both have dominance on the water and in the water. And Pongu points down into the waters, and you see, various, aquatic folk running around. You see that octopus, sea dew sport happening or whatnot. And you see, again, each ship is distinct, has different sails, etc. And Pong goes, fortunately for us, we don't have to go far. I do have my own room here on this flagship. This flagship happens to be each of the triumvirate has a flagship. The three largest here in the Armada, the well-armed vessels, have the most members, most cannon, and other magical defense weaponry, as we like to call it, all for defense, of course. And I have a spot right over here, and he just kind of keeps pointing out various things, like this is where you can get some food. On this flagship, you can, acquire various things at the quartermaster. Various things that we've plundered. I mean, have acquired through uh, peaceful means. We're a peaceful group of pirates, of course. Most of us. But yeah, here's my room, and you you open it, and it looks like at that time it's like the equivalent of like a teenage girl's. There's like just flower, like it's giving cottage core vibes, but then there's also like there's like twinkling like mage lights like on the walls, and of course there's just like the area that is like deemed the kitchen would be like stocked with snacks and just various things, and it looks like it's always ready for like a sleepover. Like it's always ready for like, do you want to talk about it? So it's just pillows on the like, it's very bohemian chic. Like there's not really like standing sitting furniture. Everything's on the ground, or there's a couple like hammocks that are like up in the air too for like flying creatures or flying species and races. And so he's just like, yeah, make yourself at home. This is my place. Can I get either of you something to eat? I'm assuming they have it fully stocked because I used to randomly pop by, but it's been a number of months, it feels like.
Coffee.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we have wonderful coffee. One of the islands that we port at has wonderful, rich volcanic soil, so it changes the flavor of the beans. You don't care. Bongu goes and like prepares the coffee.
Yeah, Kess is very just like, it's not that she's not paying attention to Pongu. Her mind is just elsewhere. She feels like she has just murdered her friend. So
Pongu sees and goes, oh dear. And he turns and like he was like doing the making of himself, and then out of nowhere the utensils just keep going, and like preparing coffee and everything else, and it looks like full on Fantasia in the background. He like not rushes, but like advances towards Kess, and he goes, let's have the tea. Let's let's have a moment. Yes. Yes, come.
this isn't. I didn't want this. I mean, this is great. I feel amazing. We all look amazing. We probably can do incredible things, but like, I'm so mad, and I'm mad and I'm scared, and I want to. Are your windows open?
No. He just shuts them.
I just. Are they like shut? Like.
I imagine they're like port like holes, and they were like flopped open, but now he's like closed them. Do you want something more discreet?
I think that just her emotions are just so she doesn't know what they are. Like they're all negative. She can't figure out which negative emotion to focus on in order to do something. And she accidentally casts control weather and creates this awful, terrible thunderstorm outside. So like she accidentally cast a 9th level spell, okay? Like
Pongu, you hear all of the familiar shouts and commands and codes of like sea life on the sea as like Mount of High buckles down for a fucking hurricane that they did not expect. But you know they've been around the block a time or two. They know their process. Within like a minute, you hear like all the rhythms of the ships are so familiar to you that it's almost like circadian. But you're able to sort of feel the rhythm that is specific to this fleet in storm time, if that makes sense. And it's almost comforting to you.
I feel like the second you close that window, like lightning just cackles like outside, and it just starts sounding horrible.
Hey, Cass, roll a d20 for me.
Yeah.
Why do you keep making me do this?
Because it's fun.
15.
Okay. As soon as Pongu closes the window, the thunder strikes, and it's so loud that it shatters the window.
Yeah,
Oh.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
As that happens, you see Pongu flicks a finger, and like something labeled lavender tea like comes and goes, maybe herbal better. Prepares like a teapot behind him. Okay. And I just, in a non like, infantilizing way, just is like, let it out. Let it out.
She doesn't say it. She doesn't let it out is the thing. She just is so.
I just peer from the port. I'm like, oh, tornadoes.
So, Cass, may I describe what is going on outside? If you do not want to describe what is happening,
I just want it to be a awful thunderstorm, possibly with some spin ups, just lots of lightning, lots of wind. Like I'm talking like people's hats are flying. Like there's
yeah. It is. There are several tornadoes outside. You cannot. There are waves. It's like tsunamis crashing over the side of the deck. Pierce, you look out and there is a manatee just like floating by on the wind, and somebody says, "Julia, we got sea cows," and like, and all of this is going on, and Kess is just blank. And she's empty, and if I may, maybe a single tear runs down her face.
Okay, so Pierce is gonna go over and Cass, are you standing? Are you sitting? Where are you at right now?
Wherever Pongu put me, but I haven't moved. Like, just rigid, like, just... probably not sitting. Probably just standing wherever we entered, just...
Okay. Pierce is gonna put his, like, standing in front of Cass, will put his hand on her shoulders and see if, when he attempts to move her to go sit down,
She
if
moves,
that...
yeah.
Okay. So he's gonna set her down, so at least she's like sitting. It's like she's not gonna fall over or something. And he's gonna get down and like look her in the face and go like, "Hey, are you here?"
Mm-hmm.
Pierce looks outside. No, I don't think you are.
Pierce, as you are kneeled down in front of her, water rushes in on the deck, and there's like probably half an inch of water standing in the room as you are kneeled down in front of her.
Okay. Okay. Man, I should have taken navigating emotions as my 20th level feat. Okay.
Cass is not laughing. I am. She's not.
Okay. Yes, and he like takes her hands and he presses them together kind of like this. He's like, Pongu, kind of urges Pongu to come here.
Pongu is not full. Like Pongu's aware, but he puts his hand on top. Is it? Are we doing one of these?
Sure. Yeah. Can't hurt. What would Pongu say? What would you say? Whatever you're feeling, we're gonna get through this together. Whatever we have to do to save the world and save him, we will do it. And you are not alone. Pierce looks at Pongu for confirmation that that was okay.
You see, Pongu nods and goes, "It appears we've matured in other ways as well. Well done, Pierce."
You're both leaning in front of me?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna slide into the floor and wrap my arms around both of you and just start crying, and the storm stops. Like, I
Okay.
start just can't stop crying, but the storm outside stops.
Pierce will just sort of like lay there in the dog pile just as long as Cass is crying.
And as the storm ceases, the pitter patter, the footsteps above deck, the unfurling of sails, all the familiar sounds resume, and the three of you just sort of kneel together, more powerful than you have ever been able to imagine, and knowing you can feel the power coursing through the three of you, but still you all feel so broken, and you're just kneeling in this salt water, but you're together, and you just share that moment. And at that point, we're going to take a quick break. So, as night falls on the Mount of Iron Armada, what are the three of you doing?
I think that. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how's Cass feeling?
I was gonna say, like, I honestly think that she's gonna hold on to y'all, and like she might just like cry herself to sleep, kind of thing. Like, if y'all let her.
Pierce will stay through till the morning, if that's his priority right now.
I think at some point, seeing Kess and Pierce in my quarters, comfortable and generally stable, will find a moment to sneak out. Not sneak out, but excuse himself. And either attempt to find one of the triumvirate, or just kind of go on a stroll, and see what turns up. Who turns up?
All right, Pongu, can I get you to make a perception check for me as you stroll about. Do you keep pretty much to one ship, or do you, as you're walking, do you venture across the pathways to other vessels?
I imagine Pongu is so used to flying around that he's. It's kind of this like he's walking from ship to ship, and he walks like in the air, like he's kind of just effortlessly gliding from ship to ship, and he's just kind of like clocking the various folks that are in their crow's nest, perhaps keeping watch, and he's looking over the water. Like, I think part of him is he needs time to think and to clear his head, as wizards might need, but he's also concerned at the events, what's transpired in the water, because I imagine from an arcane standpoint he feels a significant shift in the atmosphere of the arcane that is the immediate surrounding, not just because of the maelstrom that happened a few hours earlier, but also just what he's been feeling. Something feels awry, especially with what's transpired the past few hours. Yeah.
Of course. So that being the case, instead of a perception check, can I get an arcana check? Dirty 20. Okay. So, as you are sailing, you spend probably 5, 10, 15 minutes. You're not really sure. Eventually, you lose track of time. As you are flying around, the first thing you notice that brings you immediately back home is, as you're flying around, all of the beautiful and complex and different smells coming from the kitchens of the different ships. The food that you learned how to cook, the food that made you fall in love with food in the first place, as you are just sort of sailing around the Armada. That's sort of the first thing you notice that brings you back and makes you feel a sense of belonging. And then as you're flying around, you're sort of observing the water. And you swear that the glow from beneath is just not quite as bright as it was. And you recognize that these embers, as they have in every other location you all have been to, are fading. Which has implications that both culturally and geographically, and the Hamahoa are the essence of this place, and as far as you know, they are fading in this moment.
I think there's a moment of just like realization, and from an advanced arcane standpoint, Pongu mourns for what is happening, and also in trying to get into like a wizard who can control time. There's almost this kind of like desensitization that Pongu's afraid of, in understanding that because of time things wither and die, but there's also this element of rebirth and newness. And I think Pongu is just kind of vacillating in this moment of being in between both, right? Of things die, people die, we die. I will perhaps, if I'm lucky, die. And also the flip side of the joy of new life, of birth, of change, of seasons. And I think there's a lot of like flashbacks that Pongu starts having of his previous charges, like people that he's watched over, people that he's journeyed with. And then most recently he starts seeing flashes of Kess and Pierce, of Q, of all of the adventures they've had since this he met them in the cave. and within Pongu, there's this primal, guttural desire to protect. And without thinking, Pongu has risen and elevated into the sky. And there is a moment of Pongu having that borderline horror moment of like things being sucked into his gravitational sphere and exploding. And instead of exploding and causing this like chaotic storm, there's a flash, and there is this adult silver dragon flying in the sky where Pongu was. And this dragon, it's just circling around these ships. And he's just circling until eventually, I think that need to protect perhaps wanes a little bit, and the humanoid thought pattern of Pongu returns, and he shakes it, and he turns back into Pongu and just kind of descends back to the boat, and he enters into the room with Kess and Pearson.
Pongu, as you are in the air, flying around, you feel your connection to the weave is so strong now, and you notice a sensation as if the wind changes directions, as if a coming storm, something much more powerful than it in the air, and decided to change course. Just a thunderstorm. It makes sense. A thunderstorm would have nothing on you in this form.
Pongu just makes sure there's some light breakfast snacks before he retires for the night. We'll get hungry.
Does anyone else have anything that they're doing?
I mean, Kess is probably very asleep. Like emotions got her, and she's out for the night. Like, doesn't even probably really know where she's at. Asleep.
Pierce is there. He does sleep. He's a little bit more present. Notices Pongu leaving. Would being sort of half awake, half asleep through the evening, would Pierce have heard anything? Pongu, was that enough of a ruckus for it to be audio, an audio cue or of some kind to?
I think so, because even in the like complete chaos of Manavai, seeing a humanoid transform into an adult silver dragon would like probably like ruffle some folks. But again, I had connected with the folks in the crow's nest enough that, you know, it wouldn't have sounded any alarm, but they would have seen me doing that and eventually kind of like rising up. So they would have clocked me and wouldn't have been defensive, but you would have heard some like, you know, and then you probably would have heard like a roar or something, right?
A ruckus.
Yeah.
A ruckus, but no alarms.
Yeah.
Okay. So like in that moment, Pierce knows Pongu left. He hears the ruckus. He looks at Kess, who's like conked times 1,000. And he half trusts Pongu, half doesn't want to leave, and just stays there and makes a mental note of it and goes to sleep.
A quiet evening.
Besides the dragon.
Besides the dragon. A quiet evening for the three of you, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
And Pongu, I imagine you're probably the first to wake in the morning. but you all eventually hear, sails in the wind, rustling footsteps. You smell it, pretty profound smells of breakfast coming from above, sausages as well as sausages and bacon, as well as things like seafood, waffles like that appear to be made of like seaweed in some way.
I feel that as things get a little bit, Pongu's gonna be less reserved in his like not wanting to make noise, and is a little bit louder just to kind of like encourage folks to rise.
Yeah, Pierce will get up, realize it's morning, and head towards food.
Good morning, Pierce.
Yeah, good morning. Some
Coffee.
shit go down last night?
No.
I didn't miss
smooth
anything.
sailing.
Okay.
Smooth
You had
sailing,
it all
yeah.
under control.
Wind beneath my wings, yeah.
Okay, so I have a question, Bette Midler. Did Ash say something to the effect of he already did what needed to be done or something? I got the impression that he may have already accessed the embers here. Is that the impression you are under as well?
Yes. And yesterday I went for a bit of a stroll, and in my surveillance of the waters and, well, I think it might explain the response that I got from the triumvirate around what's happened.
Okay, so did the explosion, the column of water, did that come from... The Armada's still here, so I wouldn't have assumed, like, I'm used to seeing entire cities blow up. So, was that from that? Do you know?
I cannot confirm, but potentially be assumed. Perhaps this is a conversation we should have with Kess, and if we can perhaps track down one of the triumvirate or one of the other higher ranking members of the crew. But likely the triumvirate. Most of the crew, as lovely as they are, usually are indifferent to the triumvirate.
And then what do we do now? If the embers have all been, grabbed, where do we go?
I think we prepare. Trouble always seems to find us, Pierce, whether or not we seek it out. So
I do sometimes wonder if cosmically we are destined to find trouble.
It's definitely a possibility.
I feel like we own some of the responsibility of that, probably.
Oh. From the moment I've met you all, you don't go looking for the trouble, but as I mentioned, it always happens to find you. Us, in this case. And either way, for better or worse, we do what we can. We do as much good as we can. I think that sometimes it's the best we can hope for.
But at the same time, when have you ever seen us go, trouble, we should avoid that?
Great question.
I have one more question for you. And I don't know why I want to know this, but I want to know this. What is your favorite memory of us?
Pierce, do you remember the first time you met me? You held your gun at.
Yeah, sometimes after that too, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, but that was the first time.
Yeah.
I have not felt more alive in many years that I did staring at you at the end of the chamber of your. And do you know why?
No.
Because it is so rare to find someone who willing to protect those that they love in the way that you did in that moment. From
I
a
think,
crazy guy dancing in a cave.
yeah, but you could have kicked my ass. If you had decided, I'd have been flat on my back. So, was that the best decision? No. But I've been thinking about regrets. The things that I've done, the things that I haven't done. I don't regret anything we did. Because we always try, which is what you were saying. And if we try, then whatever happens, happens. That's the only thing we can do. But even now, and Pierce kind of takes his new form in. Feel like I still feel like I could be better. And I don't know how to be.
I think it's a fair assessment of our state, our abilities, and perhaps even our trajectory, the things to come. I'm not a divination wizard. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. But if I know anything, it's that you, Kess, and myself, we were gifted these abilities, these things that we can do now. We have the same intention in utilizing them in the way that we utilized our abilities before. And hopefully more good can come of it than perhaps the negative. And if not, at least we can do some good with whatever time we have the rest of the world, right?
Yeah.
At that moment, there is a beam of light that sort of shoots. Are you guys still in your chambers, Pangu?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. There's sort of a beam of light that shoots in from the window. And from that beam of light, something you've not seen her do in quite some time, Pangu. From that beam of light, it's almost like the photons unfurl and become the Death Caller before you. She has not, you know that she does not travel in this way very often because it takes quite a lot out of her. But she does unfurl from a beam of light in front of you. And she says, right then. I sense emotions. I want no part of that, but come with me, please. And she turns on her heel and walks out.
Pierce is like a mouthful of scone. He's like, well, that was dope.
Yes. Pierce, that is the death caller Kalaya. Should we let Kess sleep more?
No, she's gonna want to be part of this.
I'm awake.
I've good. You're awake.
been awake this whole time, but just laying there, like, kind of trying to go back to sleep, but then also just kind of listening. My passive perception is 27, so y'all woke me up.
Kess, I made you a bag.
I'll just take the bag and look in it and put it in my bag for later.
As we walk, I imagine giving Pierce kind of like the download. Well, both Kess and on Kalaya and the rest of the tribe. I kind of, if I may, Zach, just kind of introduce kind of their general roles. So, Aurea is, the chieftain. Granted, all three of them have kind of like equal power. She often is kind of like the deciding vote if there's ever like a vote that needs to be split, right? Or if they're currently split. She, for D&D purposes, she's kind of she's a high elf cleric. Zach, if you need to change anything, feel free. But it was kind of what I sent you. The Delphira, my Aunt Del, as I call her, is a wood elf druid. They're all max level BT dubs, so she's something that Kess would have equal vibes with. She kind of oversees kind of the natural order of things in the Armada, and the Death Caller Kalaya is a drow, so they're all elves. And her background, Zach, you can pick the subclasses there, but I imagined her being like a fighter barbarian, but she does have some arcane prowess. They're very old, as elves be. Yeah, so I kind of give you that download as things go. Ancient beings, likely hundreds, if not thousands of years old, and yeah.
Pongu, what is a weapon that she would have slung across her back?
I imagine she has kind of this like, it's like a repeating bow, almost like a crossbow that kind of like auto loads. So I imagine she even clocks Pierce's like weaponry and is like kind of enviously looking at it, not in a manner to take, but like it's like she's like, nice piece,
Sure. So Pierce, can I get a perception check from you, please?
Yeah. Well,
Sort
first
of on
roll
that
of Pierce
same
is
note.
nice. That's a. Oh, hold on. Perception. Oh, it's been a while since I. Okay. 9.
9. Okay. You notice that the weapon has been sort of used. It looks like it's been used kind of recently. There's a little bit of fray around the bowstring, and you feel like maybe. And there's kind of a only like 1 or 2 bows in a. Well, I mean, it's a sort of. You said it's an automatically reloading bow. You said.
Yeah. However
Okay.
you want to finesse that.
Okay. So she sort of, you see, it looks a little like it's seen some action recently, and you can tell just by the way that this person is walking in front of you that this is someone who has been fighting within
Think
the past few
Sylvanas
minutes.
Windrunner. That's the vibe she's giving.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay,
hell yeah.
perfect. Oh hell yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Sivo doesn't play well.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that a wild
Sorry,
person?
I'll send you a picture.
If she were in Halo, who would she be?
I'll also send you that reference later.
I think Kess is like, she's energyless. Like, she's like, she doesn't even have any like energy in her shoulders. Like she's just like just
Like along for the ride.
yeah, but like she's listening, but her mind is just elsewhere, you know.
So it's funny that you say that because she clocks you immediately, Kess. Kalia does, the Death Caller.
Great.
She clocks you and she looks at you. She walks to you and she kneels down in front of you and she sort of grabs your face a little bit. And she looks you in the eye and says, "All right, it's gonna suck, but I need you to get your shit together for what's about to happen next. Okay? Can you do that for me?"
Kess rolls her eyes like she doesn't care how ancient this woman is. Like she is just
Pongu, is that out of character for that person to do if they think that something very, very drastic is about to happen?
No, I think she's very much like gentle drill sergeant. Like
Okay.
she, especially in knowing that Kess and all of us are on equivalent footing in terms of power level.
Yeah.
But this is the gentlest she probably can be. Though. She's not the
All right.
gentle one out of the three. It's definitely Aunt Del. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So at that point, Delphira and the High Chieftain walk in at the same time. And the High Chieftain... Is it fair to assume that she is the type of person who speaks as few words as possible, the High Chieftain?
Fair.
Okay. So she walks in and she looks at the three of you and she looks at her siblings. And she says, "Mardosta or Evercrest?"
Oh, I think the best ale was at Mardosta.
I don't know if we should. We haven't been to Evercrest. We haven't been back. We need to go back.
We do gotta go back.
We need to go back.
You're going to
Stay away
have to choose.
Wait,
Evercrest falling, and the Emerald Flame is sending it into the ocean. And she's going to Mardosta next. You have to choose whether or not you want to prepare Mardosta, save Evercrest.
I defer to Kess and Pierce.
This is
wait,
not a decision you have to make right this second.
wait. Is she in Evercrest?
Are you speaking of the flame?
Yeah, of course.
The flame is currently in Evercrest, yes. To the best of our knowledge, to the
So
best of
we
our
could
intelligence.
stop her from destroying Evercrest and going to Mardosta if we stop her now.
If you can beat her, if you can keep her from leaving, perhaps. But
It's
as
gonna be
you
horrible.
may know by now, there's a bit of a beacon in Mardosta calling to her.
Is it Q?
You.
No, it's not just Q. Dozens of individuals who have tripped and fallen through the weave, through dimensions of life and death that no one who walks this plane should understand. Just as she, and they are calling to her. And they have been for a long time. It is fortunate for you and for all of us that her conquests have kept her busy in Evercrest while she regains her strength.
Guess if we're wrong, we can't leave Mardosta unprepared. But my mom's in Evercrest.
I know. We can't prepare Mardosta other than us being there to fight. Like, we can't go and be like, okay, we're gonna train y'all to fight this thing. Like, we can't. We have to cut her off before she goes there. And there were still people in Evercrest that needed help.
But at the same time, if we're wrong, and not to play the numbers game, I don't mean to trolley problem us here, but there's probably a fraction of life in Evercrest at this point compared to Mardosta. I don't know what to do.
Is there anyone in Evercrest you would like for me to reach out to, perhaps? That I know or that you might desire to communicate with?
I don't think anyone you would know.
I think we have to go.
If we're wrong about this and something happens to the Shadowmoors, I don't know what I'll do.
I think they'll be fine. I really... I don't know why my gut feeling is Evercrest. I have nothing to back that up. I think we have to go full circle.
I trust your gut. Pongu?
I turn and look at the triumvirate, and I turn and look at Kess Pierce, and I look at triumvirate, and I wave my hand really quick, and I attempt to telepathic bond with them quickly. Can we count on your support? The full force of the Monovian Armada should we go to war at Evercrest.
And you see Delphira just sort of smile, and then it's without a second's hesitation that you hear all three of them speak a cherished phrase in your culture. No child of the Armada is ever left at sea.
And out loud, you two hear, war makes too many orphans who have the full force of the city at sea with you. Set sail for Evercrest. That is what you command.
Kess, I need a perception check from you, please.
$29? Wait. Hold on. Yeah, 29.
You see, from a damp piece of wood on the windowsill. A feeble black flower blossoms and then turns to ash and is absorbed by the wood and then grows once more and yet again feeble, crumbles to ash. And you feel something tug in your heart and you hear in your head, "Come to me one last time, Guess."
Damn it, I don't know where he is. She says that out loud.
Pongo, you would know where sort of the infirmary is, and you would assume that that's where he had been taken.
I address Delphira, and I assume she nods and will take you and or us, depending on how long the summons is expected, the triumvirate. Delphira, it sounds like this is pressing. Might we continue this parliament later?
You may, of course, make the necessary preparations.
We will likely need to utilize the spoils of the Empire if we may. We will return as needed, of course.
What more worthy of a cause for spoils, resources for those in need? And that is our people. That is our people! And you just sort of hear like several people like chanting. You guys didn't even really notice, filled with several other like high-ranking members of Mount of Eye. You guys have just been put up in your own little moment that you haven't noticed that, you know, you're surrounded by all of this.
I turn to Kess and say, we can follow Delphira and go to him.
Okay.
You all walk through the damp hallways of several different ships, it seems, of the Armada, realizing that you must be crossing from one ship to the next, but you don't remember any kind of tunnel. You don't remember seeing any amount of water. You don't know exactly how that would have happened. But still, you find yourself walking for quite some time until eventually you round a corner and find yourself in an empty infirmary. Ash is in a table by the window, or on a bed, but on a bed. Ash is on a bed by the window.
Does he look worse than when we left him before?
He is withered. It looks like he's lost about 20 pounds in the past 12 hours.
Is he still wearing the vial?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go over and I'm gonna kneel down.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
You still mad at me?
Yeah, I am, actually. And I feel bad about it, but I can't stop being mad.
I'm very sorry. I really am. I think you know there was no other way. I couldn't have talked to you about this.
But we didn't have to do this.
Yeah, we did. At least for now. I am not... I'm not smart enough to know what is about to happen, but I'm also smart enough to know that you are never going to fucking give up. So I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again. I might. Kinda hope I do. And Cass, as you're talking, you see like there's like a little bit of orange behind his eyes, but it's like beginning to flicker. He says, I really am sorry. I am. I hate deceit.
Okay. Well, I take off the Shadowmoor ring of this is not. What kind of ring was it? Ring of mind shielding.
Mm-hmm.
And I give it to him. And
You asking me to marry you?
no. But can you like attune to this really quickly? Please. Please. Just, like focus on it just for like a little second and then put it on and then wear it.
He slides it onto his finger, and there's like a bzzz. Got tricks up your.
Just like one or two tricks. Okay. And I want to detect the essence again, the live essence. Like I did yesterday.
Yeah, make a check.
Was it nature?
It was your proficiency.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, can I have advantage?
Why
Don't
would
you have
get
inspiration
advantage?
still?
I have inspiration. I'm gonna reroll.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Level 20 and still rolling dog shit.
I
sometimes.
rolled a natural one.
Oh no.
It happens.
Okay. Proficiency. 18.
18. You can't believe he's still here. It's just the faintest whisper, the faintest spark of life is within this body.
Okay, DM, I don't know if I can do this. But that spark. Okay. Where do I feel the spark at?
I need more context than that. What are you trying to do?
I want to take life well water and add it to that spark.
There's not necessarily. You feel like giving him life well water at this point would almost just be like morphine, just like you would be administering comfort. There's nothing really to add to that spark at this point. Does that make sense?
Yeah. She's kind of like panicking, like just kind of like grasping for like just things.
Hey. It's all right. It's all right. When I started all of this, it was fully my intention to just fucking die. Now I kind of think you might figure something out. But if not, that's it. It really is okay. I'm so tired, Cass. My entire existence has been fighting that flame. And now I feel like with three of you, hopefully Q, wherever he is, I sent, it's like a message out. And he like sort of reaches and he's grasping and you see his eyes sort of lose focus in that moment. And he does the thing where like, those of you who have seen death, you recognize this as like the last sort of throes of life at the same time. But he's like, he imagines himself reaching out and sending a message. But he says, I hope he received it as well. I think he did. Thank you, Kess. Piers, Pongu.
Pierce approaches. Hey, before you go, Pierce pulls out his revolver and he kind of spins it and he flings up this single bullet and he catches it. He goes, at one point I thought I was going to give you one of these, And I think I still will. And he just kind of sets it next to him on the table. And he puts his hand on his chest. And just holds it there.
You put the put the bullet on
A little
Ash's
bullet.
chest?
No, I set it next to him, but Pierce puts his hand on Ash's chest.
So Ash sort of like reaches for the bullet and like flails for a minute and grabs it and like puts his hand on top of yours, clutching the bullet in his hand. And you feel the bullet sort of pass through your hand and absorb into his body. I'll take that with me, thank you. It might be of use.
Ash,
Yeah, mate.
are you absolutely sure this is what you desire?
It's not that's what I desire. It's what has to happen. But you of all people should know that what happens and what hasn't happened and what never happens and what might still happen and what may have happened once under another set of circumstances, those things are all much more closely aligned with the passage of time than one might think. It's all manipulatable. And he sort of like reaches back and he says, but seriously, I'm okay with just sleeping for a bit.
Pierce kind of leans and catches Kess's eye. He's like, tell him.
Tell him what? That I'm angry and mad and that this isn't how it was supposed to happen? This is not how it was supposed to happen. We could have helped you.
No, you couldn't have.
Yes,
You
we
don't
could have.
understand.
Every other
You
time
don't
that
know, Cass. You do not know. I'm so scared to hear you say that because that means you don't know what you're fucking up against. You do not know what she's capable of. It was going to take every bit of this, and I just fucking hope it's enough. But I think that what you all have, plus what I can provide you with, I think you're up to the task. And in that moment, Kess, he just sort of looks at you and he locks eyes. I'll see you around.
I don't think she can say anything.
Kess, are you standing next to him still?
Mm-hmm.
Pierce, are you still standing next to him?
Yeah, if he's still, depending on if he's still holding my hand or not, that his hand may still be on his chest.
You feel the slightest wheeze. And then, Pierce, you feel your hand pass through his chest as what appears on first sight to be ash falls to the bed until you recognize that it's cold. He's turned to snow. And Kess, you recognize it as the fine powder of Mardostan snow. And he melts into the bed sheets.
Where's the ring?
It's not there.
That bitch.
Kess, it's in your pocket.
I put it on. Did he attune to it?
He did.
Dude, what the hell? I say into the ring. It holds his conscience, like it if you're attuned to it and you die, you go into the ring or something.
You do not hear anything, but you do feel a swirl of like ice along the metal of the ring. So you do sort of feel that he might be in there. And with that, we're going to end tonight's session. Meeting adjourned. See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Made me all misty.
Is everybody okay? Is everybody safe?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Everybody okay?
Kess doesn't deal with death. So this is about to get real messy, guys.
Messy Kessie coming back for another episode.
Yeah, bring it to war, Cass. Bring it to war.
Yeah. She mhm.